स्वयातात्म्यं प्रकृत्यास्य तिरोधिः शरणागतिः भक्तभेदप्रबुद्धस्य श्रैष्ठ्यं सप्तम उच्यते. This is Swami Alavandar's summary of the 7th chapter in the Gita-artha Sangraha. In the 7th chapter of the Gita are taught the truth about the nature of Bhagavan, his concealment by Prakriti, refuge in the Lord as the only means for removing this obstruction, classification of devotees, and the greatness of the wise one among them. A hermit was meditating by a river when a young man interrupted him. "Master, I wish to become your disciple," said the man. "Why?" replied the hermit. The young man thought for a moment. "Because I want to find God." The master jumped up, grabbed him by the scruff of his neck, dragged him into the river, and plunged his head underwater. After holding him there for a minute, with him kicking and struggling to free himself, the master finally pulled him up out of the river. The young man coughed up water and gasped to get his breath. When he eventually quieted down, the master spoke. "Now tell me, what did you want most of all when you were underwater?" "Air," answered the man. "Very well," said the master. "Go home and come back to me when you want God as much as you wanted air." True bhakti is wanting to be in constant communion with the Lord. Bhakti is the natural state of every jivatma. Bhakti comes from the word bhaja, to adore, love and serve. Bhakti is a blissful state of servitude to the Lord. It is not just emotions and sentiments. Knowledge, when it fully matures, is bhakti. Bhakti alone is the means to reach Bhagavan, Sri Krishna categorically states in this chapter. The first 6 chapters of the Gita cover who we are and who we are not. Among the 3 tattvas, Chit and Achit are explained in detail. Now the focus of the next 6 chapters is the third and most important tattva, Ishvara. Our scriptures declare 3 fundamental real entities: Achit, Chit, Ishvara. The universe of physical matter is the non-sentient Achit, which is the object of experience. The countless individual sentient souls are the experiencing conscious subjects, Chit. And Ishvara, Brahman, the Lord, is the absolute ruling principle. Chapters 7 to 12 of the Gita impart us the knowledge regarding Brahman's Swarupa, Rupa, Guna, Vibhuti and Aishwaryam. His nature, his form, his attributes, his properties and his lordship. 2 fundamental entities constitute the whole of universe. They are Achit and Chit, Prakriti and Purusha, matter and spirit. They are the 2 root principles. Between them, the Jivatma Samuha, the aggregate of all individual souls, forms the higher Prakriti, and the material principle is the lower. These 2 principles of reality belong to God and they constitute his twofold Prakriti, his twofold powers, his twin attributes with which he works in his cosmic manifestation. All creation proceed from these basic factors, and these factors proceed from him. It is this assertion of their belonging to God that constitutes the central affirmation in this chapter. We need to understand that all sentient beings, the infinite individual souls, and all insentient entities, the infinite universe of matter, or organically related to God in the same way as an essential attribute is related to its substance. While a substance and its attributes are distinct, the two are integrally related, and as an integral complex whole, it is one. Thus, the oneness of ultimate reality that is declared in our scriptures, Krishna here points out, is to be understood as an organic unity. In other words, Brahman, Ishvara, Bhagavan, as organically related to Chit and Achit, is one ultimate reality. As Sri Krishna declares, he has twin inseparable properties, one of lower nature, Prakriti, matter, and the other of higher nature, Chit, the sentient souls. All of God's creation has its source in these two natures. Brahman is the all-pervasive support and sustenance of the universe. As Krishna says in this chapter, he is like the string upon whom all pearls, that is the infinite individual souls and matter, are threaded. The term Brahman signifies the Supreme Person who transcends all imperfections and abounds in infinite auspicious qualities of unsurpassed excellence. Brahman is infinite not just in physical terms, but in metaphysical and qualitative terms. He is the absolute real abode of all consciousness. He is infinitely auspicious, infinitely blissful, infinitely merciful, infinitely beautiful, in fact, infinitely infinite. He is omniscient, omnipotent, from whom proceeds the creation, subsistence, and reabsorption of this wonderful universe not to be comprehended by human thought. Ishvara also stands in relation to the material world and the individual souls as the inner self, Antaryami, of each, providing the very basis for their reality. As such, he has matter and individual souls as his body and is therefore the supreme being in whom all reality is comprehended. This is why the favorite devotional name for God is Narayana, a name that beautifully conveys his immanence and his transcendence at the same time. He is omnipresent, but he is not visible to our mundane eyes. The curtain of Maya, that is the power of Prakriti, obstructs us from seeing him. Daivihyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. This divine Maya of mine, declares Sri Krishna, consisting of the three gunas, is hard to overcome. This entire universe is deluded by the three gunas of Prakriti, and therefore one does not recognize me. The Prakriti, constituted of the three gunas, here is described as divine Maya of the Lord. So what is the means for deliverance from this Maya? How to overcome this Maya? Krishna says that the only way of overcoming this Maya is to seek refuge in the Supreme Lord. Mamevaye prapadyante mayametam tarantite. Those who take refuge in me alone cross beyond this Maya, says Krishna. Sarvam Sri Krishnarpanamastu.